Hey, what's up? It's Bill the Universe, and I'm going to be doing the birth chart of the Lucille Ball. I love Lucy. I mean, who doesn't love Lucy? She is funny. She's gorgeous. She's creative. She stands on her own. She is a force. And now, 60, 70 years after the show, and about 40 years after her death, she's legendary and she's timeless. So I wanted to talk about her beauty. I think she's iconic, you know. And I think for many years she was only known for her comedy, right? And her power, and her pioneering ways, right? But I think lately, in the last 20, 30 years, I think we've just really been appreciating her beauty, her unique beauty. Yeah, so this is Vedic Astrology. This is not normal astrology. This is an Eastern 4,000-year-old Indian Vedic astrology. It's called Jyotish. And so that's what I do. We talk about the signs, yeah, but the signs are a bit different. They're placed differently. And we also talk about the stars. And I say a lot of terms in Hindu because this is an old ass Hindu system. So it's really cool. Parallels Hinduism. I love it. And let's put a Hindu Vedic stank on Lucille Ball's astrology chart, shall we? So she is, what is she even? She's a Cancer sun. In Western, she'd be a Leo because she's born August 6th. But she's an Aslesha sun. For the last 800 years, the sun was under the constellation of Cancer, specifically the star of Aslesha, every August 6th for past almost 1,000 years. This is one reason why I like Vedic, because Vedic is, they like to go up based off of where things accurately are. So she was a Cancer sun, she's a Sagittarius moon, and she's a Sagittarius ascendant. Isn't that fascinating? So she was a Aslesha sun, she was a Purvashada moon, and she's a Mula ascendant. It's funny because Mula can be a type of the Ketu. Well, Mula combines two like kind of homosexual energies, Ketu and modality, the mutable modality. When mutable modality like Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, I have noticed a lot of them are gay. Vedic mutable signs, not Western. I notice a lot of them are gay. You know, I am a Virgo moon in Vedic, and I'm gay, and I see a lot of like what is it called, fag hags, like dominant women who have a bunch of gay friends. They also will have queer placements. Judy Garland, she has the most queer placements I've ever seen in a singular chart. To the point where I think she might have been gay. And I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of get a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit of a queer vibe in this chart as well. And I think it's so interesting. It's the Mula ascendant. It's what's giving me that queer vibe. It's so funny, and I see so many men who will overcompensate, who are Mula. I will see them overcompensate by being like kind of bigoted towards gays. I will see Mula men overcompensate their queerness with like making their bodies huge. Like Schwarzenegger is a Mula person, and The Rock is a Mula person, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is a Mula person. So, and I know so many and a lot of them are very conservative, and a lot of them will like overcompensate for being gay. So I think it's very interesting. But when they do decide to express this energy, this wonderful, beautiful, and colorful, vibrant, extroverted energy, they are so colorful. They're the masters of color. They play with color. They're not afraid of color. Lucille Ball has that signature shocking red hair. And most people who really rock the red hair, if they really, really try to go glam, they might be afraid that they might look like Bozo or something like that. But Lucille Ball, she really made it sensual. she made it sexy. You know what I mean? People would associate it with, like, I don't know, Santa Claus or something like that. But uh, she really rocked it. What was my point? Oh, color. Yeah, Mullah is good with color. You know who also is Mullah? Is, what's her name? Oh, damn, I can't think of her name. She's blonde, and everyone loves her. And she's very young and very new. She's from Sweden. She's a pop star. Oh, Larson. Something Larson. She is Mullah, and she is the master of color. Her whole vibe is like, she looks like a living Lisa Frank. You know who else is Mullah that is so good with, is so not afraid of color, just solely fluid with the color, is Jeffree Star. He's also Mullah. So Mullah people are not only queer, but they're queer friendly. And the reason why I'm even bringing up all this queer stuff is because she is a fucking gay icon. Judy Garland and Lucille Ball, I feel like they're like the OG gay icons. You know what I mean? Like all the old gay gays, when they were kids, you were either like a Judy girl or you were like a Lucy girl. You know what I mean? Every gay loves Lucy. Who doesn't love Lucy? I love her. Anyway, not only that, but her moon is in Porva Ashada. This is one of the most extroverted energies. Sagittarius in general can be so fucking extroverted. They're very solar that way, which is so ironic because it's actually Jupiter Rashi. But they can be so solar in that way where they're just so extroverted. They're fun. They're full of life. They're full of energy. They're the life of the party. Like when you see a beautiful chick, a hot chick that's like the life of the party and she's fun, girl, I guarantee you she's got Sagittarius in her, especially either Mula or Porva Ashada. Like these women are a gay's best friend. Again, I know a Porva Ashada moon woman who is she. I think she only has gay men friends. I don't even know if she has any other type of friend. She might have one or two girlfriends, you know, a couple homegirls, but she, for the most part, only exclusively. And it's so funny because Porva Shad is actually a dancer. Was Lucy a dancer? I know she was an actress all her whole life. I know in the 40s and 30s she was part of that old Hollywood crowd. But I don't know if she was an actual dancer. Maybe she did. Maybe she actually did do dancing when she was young or something like that. Porva Ashada is generally a dancer. My friend who I just talked to you about, who is a total fag hag, all her friends are gay. She's a Porva Ashada. Actually, she's double Venus. She's Porva Ashada moon, and she's a Porva Falguni sun. Not that y'all asked. Yeah, Porva Ashada. And you know who else is Porva Ashada who's gay and totally fun and extroverted and lovely is I can't remember her name either. The blonde who played Weird Barbie. She was on SNL. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She's a Porva Ashada sun. Porva Ashada people are just so fun. Now, the other thing about Porva Ashada that's interesting is their beauty is unique. Of course they're hot. Of course they're sexy. But Porva Ashada is the height of Venus. Every planet has 3 levels with the nakshatras. Every planet expresses their 3 levels through the nakshatras. You know, the first is of the one of me, the ego. The second is the we. And then the third is the release. And so the Venus being here in Porva Ashada, this isn't just Venus, which it is. It's a Venus nakshatra. So obviously she's going to be pretty. And especially her, she got Venus in the 10th house, honey. That means she's showing off her beauty. The world can see her beauty. You know what I mean? But because it's Porva Ashada, she's going to be emotionally tied to things like true beauty. So when I see things dealing with Venus, a good question to ask is, what is true beauty? Because of course, looks is beautiful, you know, but also, you know, things growing, nature is beautiful. You know what I mean? There's so many different types of beauty. And so, what was the point? Oh, because Porva Ashada is the highest form. Yes. So it says that she was very beautiful, but also she's pretty mature as well. Anyway, I feel like I fucked up. I feel like I fucked up the first 10 minutes. Anyway, I'm thinking, I'm in my brain. Anyway, so let's start with her beauty placements. She got a lot of beauty placements. Her Rahu is an Ashwini in the 5th house. Her Rahu is an Ashwini. Rahu is like what you're most obsessed with. And it's, first of all, it's in the 5th house. It means that she was obsessed with the arts. She wanted to be, it's with Venus in the 10th and Rahu in the 5th. I mean, she had a very strong desire to be known, to be seen, to be on TV, to be on stage. But not just that, but it's in Ashwini Nakshatra. Ashwini is a star in Aries. Aries, especially Ashwini, especially this star Ashwini, which sits in the horn of Aries, you can think of the color red when you think of Ashwini. And the fact that it's in the 5th house, I truly 100% that believe that Lucille Ball mostly lived out her life through lived out through her Rahu. You know, she lived out her life through her Rahu lens. Your Rahu is what you're very obsessed with in life, and it's in the 5th house of the arts. So that means that she spent her whole life really devoted to the arts. Not only does she have Rahu here, but she's got Mars here. So there's so much energy going into the arts. Now, where am I getting at with the beauty placement? First of all, you can't, especially back in the day, literally your waist had to be a certain size. It had to be within a certain range. Like your face had to be a certain way. Your weight had to be a certain range. Like literally back in the day. So the fact that her Rahu is in Aries is the winner. Aries is number one. The astrologer Claire Nocti looked up all the charts of all these old Hollywood stars, and it was like especially the females, and it was significantly Aries. Vedic, sidereal Aries, not Western, okay? Vedic Aries. And so Lucille Ball is no different. She has 3 planets in Aries, and it's in her 5th house. So this would have made her a winner in the arts, and she totally was. But also, when you're living out your Rahu, you're gonna manifest that in so many ways where you're gonna start embodying it on your face, on your body, in your hair, in your fashion. But for example, my Rahu is in Pisces, but it's a Saturn nakshatra, so that's color blue, right? Not just because Pisces is water, but also because nakshatra Saturn rules black and blue. Okay, so I wear a lot of black, I wear a lot of blue. And I try to stay away from my Rahu because you should stay away from your Rahu. Rahu can be very dangerous. Rahu can make you have a very tormented life. You pay a big price to receiving the treasure of Rahu. And actually, Lucille Ball did pay a lot of big prices, personal prices in her life for her fame. But when you live out through your Rahu, you will start to embody the nakshatra that it's in. And hers is Ashwini. Ashwini is a star in Aries. That's the winner, but also it's the color red. So a couple weeks ago, I did Charles Leclerc. His chart, he's a race car driver in Monaco. This man is an Ashwini moon. You look him up, you will see the predominant color palette will be shocking red, fire red. He's an Ashwini moon. And then Lucille Ball has her Rahu in Ashwini. This is what I'm saying. Like, you live out your nakshatras. And so for her to have her Rahu in Ashwini, this would mean that she's red in some way. If she were a man, maybe she would be a redhead. But if she were a man, maybe he would wear like red shirts, or maybe he would have a red Mustang or a red Ferrari. You know, I'm not a Ferrari, but like a red muscle car or something like that. You know what I mean? Like living out, you're like manifesting physically your nakshatra. And so for her, she's a glam queen. She's an actress. She's a professional Hollywood actress. She's gonna rock the Rahu. She's gonna rock the red. She's gonna have the red lip, the bold red lip, hunty. She's gonna have the bold red hair, because I don't think she's a natural blonde, is she? She might like naturally have like reddish hair, but I think I would bet you that it's a dye job for sure. You know, she would have the bold red nails, right? That's totally Aries. It's she's embodiment of her Rahu, which is the sign of a winner, you know, which I think is pretty interesting. What else? She has her Mars and Buttony in the 5th house. Like I said, a lot of old Hollywood stars have this nakshatra of Bharani nakshatra. Bharani is a star in the stomach of Aries. So again, this is Aries still, but this is just a different star. It's in Bharani nakshatra. It's very beautiful. Lots of Bharani women are, almost half of all the Bharani women in old Hollywood have, almost half of all the old Hollywood actresses back then have a Bharani placement. Jessica Alba is Bharani. Christina Aguilera is a Bharani moon. I think Cher has some Bharani placements. Uma Thurman is a Bharani native. Gal Gadot is a Bharani native. So a lot of very beautiful women were Bharani. Ironically, Marilyn Monroe had no Bharani. She was different. Lucille Ball is no different. She has her Mars in Bharani. And let's see, she also has her Venus in the 10th house. Like, that is so... That when you have Venus in the 10th house and you're really working the beauty aspect, you could be a model. You know what I mean? Like, she was a model. In her early days, she was a model. Literally, Venus in the 10th house is built for looking pretty. Is built for knowing how to present yourself. You know, a lot of people who, even if you're not even that attractive, Venus in the 10th house will make you attractive because you will know about maintenance. You will know about how you're coming across it to people. You will be more self-aware of how you are being perceived. So like I said, like, even if you're not naturally super attractive, you just becoming so much aware, because Venus is a Vishnu planet, okay? Vishnu is about maintenance, okay? Whether you're maintaining a car, or whether you're maintaining a bank account, or some type of account, or you're maintaining the face, girl, the grill. Okay, so Venus is a maintenance nakshatra. I mean, a maintenance planet, because it's Vishnu. Even if you're not naturally attractive, you're going to be attractive just because you're so much more aware of how you're coming across. So she's got Venus in the 10th house. Mariah Carey has Venus in the 10th house. That's perfect because this 10th house is the stage. 10th house is the TV screen. So Lucy was showing her beauty through the TV screen. Mariah is showing her artistic side and her beauty. She's obviously very beautiful, but I mean, like, also because she's a singer. So Venus is the arts. So she's going to show. That means you're going to either show your beauty on screen or on stage, or make it public, or the public is going to really regard you for your artistic ability, something along those lines. 10th house is also career, and Venus is the arts. So this also means someone can have a career in the arts. So obviously she does. It's in Virgo. It's, again, adds to the beauty. Virgo is, in my opinion, and you should regard it. You should regard my opinion. Just kidding. Virgo, in my opinion, is the most feminine sign. Think about it. You would think it's Cancer, and I do think Cancer is the most beautiful sign. But I think that Virgo is the most feminine sign. First of all, think about it. Virgo is the only actual woman in astrology. Everyone else is a fucking crap, or you know what I mean? Virgo's the actual, like, girl. Hello. And also, like, even spiritually, it's the most feminine, because, I mean, I see so many nuns. There's so many religious figures, famous women, religious figures who abstained completely from sex. You know, like, how much more feminine can you get? I'm just kidding. That's rude. Is that rude? Sexist? I don't know. Anyway, point is, she has her Venus and Virgo in the 10th house. So she's going to come across... Virgo is a lady. That's what I'm saying. Like, she's going to come across as not just beautiful because it's Venus, but also ladylike, you know? Now, Mariah Carey has her Venus in Leo. Leo shows it and bears it, and Leo don't care. Leo don't care, okay? Because Leo is about self-expression. But Lucy's Venus is in Virgo. Virgo is a lady. Virgo buttons it up. Virgo, that's just what Virgo does, right? Who else? Kim Kardashian has her Venus in the 10th house. The Kim Kardashian has it in Leo, again, like Mariah. And, like I said, Leo is about self-expression, and it's even about sexual expression, sexual self-expression. So Mariah and Kim Kardashian, they both have Venus. All three of these ladies have Venus in 10th house. But Mariah and Kim, because it's in Leo, it's in Purva Falguni, which is the most sexual star. They're going to show off the cleavage. They're going to show off the butt. Obviously, Kim showed a lot more. But yeah, but then Lucy, she has her Venus in Virgo. Virgo is the lady. Okay, so Virgo is so ladylike that a lot of Virgo ladies are repressed. That's actually, it's a fine balance. A lot of them are overly hermit. Like, what's it called when you like stay by yourself a lot? You know what I mean? I have that problem because I'm a Virgo moon, girl. And it's in the nakshatra of Uttara Falguni. That's so fascinating to me. Here's why. Because Uttara Falguni, first of all, that's a star in Virgo, right? Like we just said, she's got her Venus in Uttara Falguni, it's a star in Virgo. But the nakshatra itself is a sun nakshatra. Sun is the most dominant and it's the most masculine nakshatra in all of Jyotisha. Actually, it's one of the three. There's two more that are just as masculine. But it's still, there's only three heavy masculine nakshatras. And this is where her Venus is in the 10th house. So it's saying that because it's Venus, but it's also masculine Uttara Falguni, and it's the sun. It's a sun nakshatra. Sun is a star, literally, right? So when we see her, it's saying that we see a star when we see her because it's Uttara Falguni. It's a sun nakshatra, but it's still the planet of Venus. So we're also seeing her beauty, but it's also that masculine side. So we're seeing someone who's tough. We're seeing someone who's gritty. We're seeing someone who's independent. We're seeing someone who can stand on their own 2 feet. You know what I mean? These are masculine things that I'm describing. Okay? So on one hand, Venus is in Uttara Falguni in here, in the 10th house. So on one hand, Venus is beautiful. We're seeing her beauty. We're seeing her artistic side. We're seeing her softness. We're seeing her femininity. But also we're seeing how tough she is. We're seeing how direct. Also, Uttara Falguni is so direct. And it's also gangster. I could totally see Lucille Ball being a G. I could totally see it. She was a G. She's the OG. We're talking about Lucy here. Come on now. Like, Uttara Falguni, I've literally seen rappers and gangsters with this placement. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ricky, the husband, I wouldn't be surprised if he was doing nefarious shit. And it's interesting because she has her Pluto in the 7th house of relationships. That means there was something very deep about her husband. Very, not dark, but very deep about her husband. So I don't know. And the fact that she's got her Jupiter in Svati Nakshatra. Yeah. And it's kind of debilitated here in the 11th house. Her husband, man. Her husband was something else. Like, yeah. Her husband's something else. I'll get to that in a little bit. More on her beauty. Yeah, she's a Purvashada moon. That's a Venus Nakshatra. Marilyn Monroe's Ketu was in Purvashada. This is, again, I've talked about this. I already said this. True beauty. Not just outer beauty, inner beauty too. Grace, style, extroverted, popular, powerful. Now, one of the emblems for Purvashada is the decorated fan. And I think that's very interesting. And not that she was a very decorated person, but she was so dynamic in the way she presented herself. She was decorated, but like she was like her personality was decorated. You know what I mean? Like I love her. Like, you can immediately see her with her eyes bulged out. Like, she's just iconic. She's so bubbly. The Purvashada makes so much sense. It's the most extroverted sign nakshatra I've ever seen. I've ever experienced. But it's, like I said, the emblem for Purvashada is the decorated fan. Now, it's funny because Elvis Presley was a Purvashada ascendant or maybe he was Purvashada sun. But in his Vegas days, he was all the sequins, girl. Like every single rhinestone, he was a rhinestone cowboy. And he was Purvashada. So you can really see the way that Porvashada emblem of the decorated fan is lived out through Elvis's clothes, right? So maybe, I don't know, maybe you tell me, all you diehard Lucy fans, maybe she did have a habit of wearing a million jewels or a million things on her. She would always have all this fucking jewelry on her, or she loved her a sequenced gown, or she loved her a sequenced jacket or something like that. Maybe she did. Maybe she was all about it. If that's true, it's definitely her Porva shot of moon, just loving decorations, loving beauty, loving things that shine and sparkle. It's in the personality too. So here's interesting. So there's a documentary on Lucy and her husband, and it's actually really good. Fucking watch it. It's on Prime Video, and it's produced by Amy Poehler, who's another comedy queen. So it was so fitting that Amy Poehler produced this documentary about the original comedy queen, Lucy, and she interviewed Lucy and Ricky's daughter. So it's such a good fucking documentary, and you learn so much about their private lives. What I learned is that Lucy earned her way through everything in her life. Lucy, it's not like she came from nothing the way Mariah did. Mariah came from nothing. Like, that's insane. But Lucy came from very, very, very humble beginnings. And her chart does show artistic. It completely shows the arts. She's got a fully loaded 5th house, and she's got Venus in the 10th house. That's a performer. And she's a Purvashada moon. She at the very least, she's beautiful or a dancer. You know what I mean? But also, it's not like this. It still says that she had to really, really earn her way. And one thing I learned about from watching that documentary is that she didn't like people who relied on their talent. And I thought that was very interesting. She liked people, and she liked working with people who worked hard. That's what she liked. She said that, like, literally personality-wise, she just didn't get along with people who were naturally talented because she thought they were lazy. She thought that they were entitled. She thought that they were, pompous. What's the other word? Righteous, self-righteous. She liked people who really worked hard. You know who she was good friends with? She was good friends with Ginger Rogers. And she said something very interesting about Ginger. She goes, I fucking love Ginger Rogers. People don't know this, but she wasn't that naturally talented. She worked her fucking ass off. And I was like, really? Ginger Rogers wasn't that naturally talented? Because she looks it. I see her dancing, as they say, I see her doing everything that Fred Astaire did, but backwards. Isn't that the famous saying? But you would never know because she had such a fucking hard work ethic. And so with Lucy, definitely admired that in people was their work ethic, not necessarily their natural talent. So I think that's interesting. The reason why I find that interesting is because I do see kind of a little bit of lack of luck. And I do see obstacles in her way. First of all, her Jupiter is the planet of luck. She's got it in the 11th house. That's a Saturn-ruled house. Saturn is not about giving away free gifts. Jupiter will give you free gifts all the time. They love it. Jupiter is very giving. Jupiter has excess energy. Okay, this is why they have to give away energy, because they have excess. But Saturn is dry and skinny. Okay, Saturn is not fun. Saturn wants to make you earn it. Okay, so she's got the planet of luck inside of the house of no luck, of earning it. Okay. So that means she is kind of takes away her luck. You should watch that documentary. She had a tough childhood. Earn your way. Yeah, you got to earn your way. This kind of puts a damper on her Jupiter. When your Jupiter is debilitated, you got to work, girl. You got to work for it. You can't rely on luck. What else did I put? I put comma, some husband. Coma, comes, sir, husband. Accident, child, work your way. What does that mean? Karma surrounding the husband. Oh, I'm trying to read my own handwriting. Karma surrounding, yeah, exactly. Because Saturn is very karmic and Jupiter is the husband. So what happens when you put Jupiter in a Saturn-ruled house? That's going to put karma around your husband. And then I put incident, accident as a child. Yeah, like something happened when she was a kid where her father or something, like her brother accidentally shot and killed like a neighbor kid. It was an accident. And the family sued her father and obviously won. And so she grew up so poor because her father went bankrupt, from being sued because the kid or her brother, Lucy's brother, something like that. Something happened where a neighbor kid died and then the father was sued. And this really put the Ball household in severe poverty for many years. And so from early childhood, Lucy knew what it was to grow up without. Even honestly, not to get racist or whatever, but even being a white family, a white lady, white girl in 1920s, 30s, in America, even despite that, she just really came from humble beginnings and really, truly, truly worked her way up. The other thing is she has a Rahu in her fifth house. Yes, that makes you very obsessed with the arts. Yes, that makes you very devoted to the arts. Yes, I understand that. And I have Rahu in the fifth house too. Okay, but let me tell you something. You pay consequences for achieving your Rahu. You pay consequences. Rahu makes you travel far. There's travel associated with Rahu. So I know she's from New York and then she moved to Los Angeles. So that would be the travel part. You pay a very personal price when you achieve your Rahu. You have to pay for it. Sometimes you pay for it with like a cancer or a tumor. Sometimes you pay for it with a very, very like sorrowful personal life. Sometimes it straight up fucking kills you. Rahu kills people. And sometimes when people like follow their Rahu too hard, it kills you. I can attest to that, trust me. Anyway, that's the other thing about having to earn your way. And Rahu can make you very like so obsessive that it can make you like you're not seeing the clear picture, because you're thinking too hard on it or something like that. Very much in her Rahu, red hair, Ashwini red. Yeah, we already talked about that. And then she has her Saturn in the fifth house. Crazy. Delays. Saturn causes delays. 1, 2. Oh, wow, that's crazy. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8, 9, 10. Wow. That's so fascinating. So she's got Saturn in her fifth house. It's aspecting her seventh house of relationships, and it's also aspecting her 11th house of her husband because she's got Jupiter there, and it's also aspecting her second house of finances, which we already know she had humble beginnings. So this, Lucy did not have this great easy life. Lucy had personal turmoil. Lucy was working hard. To have Saturn in your fifth house and have Rahu there, and then she's got her Mars there, that means that life didn't make it easy for her to be an artist. Life didn't make it easy for her to go after that stuff. But also it wasn't fair because life made her devoted to it. Imagine being obsessed and devoted about something that you can't have. So what do? You're either depressed because you can't go after it because life is holding you back from going after what you want, or you're depressed because you had to pay a huge price for being brave and going after what you want. So it's crazy because Rahu and Saturn here in her fifth house, they're telling her, don't go after the arts, don't go after the arts. But here's the thing, she's got Mars here. You can't tell Mars what to do, okay? The other thing is, it's in Aries. Aries is a winner. And Rahu is obsessive. So you got an obsessive winner in the house of the arts. She's not going to stay in New York. She's not going to stay in Jamestown. She's got Saturn here and she's got Rahu here. This will make it hard for her to achieve it. But she will achieve it if she keeps going. The fact that it's Rahu and it's in Aries, Aries has to win. And Mars is here. Like, I keep saying the same shit over and over again. It's crazy. And remember, she had her first child at 40 years old. I Love Lucy didn't start till Lucy was 40 years old. So the fact that Saturn is still expressing itself, like what she's known for, which is I Love Lucy, that didn't she spent 4 decades of her life acting before she even started I Love Lucy. So Saturn most definitely was at play here. Saturn did cause a delay. You know what I mean? And it's aspecting the seventh house. She just got married. She had just started her family. She's aspecting the house of her husband, where her Jupiter is sitting in. That we all know that it was not a great marriage, and it's aspecting her second house, which is delay, of resources, of home comforts. So Saturn here really didn't really put its stank on Lucy's chart. Lucy had to work her way. It's like Lucy didn't get any help at all, but she did have natural beauty. She did have a talent for being on stage. People loved to watch her. She had artistic talent, and she had a fully loaded fifth house in Aries. Woo, girl, that makes you a winner. That makes you a winner. You're competitive in the arts. So she was competitive. Okay, now I want to talk about, before that really quickly, I want to talk about the fact that she is Rahu conjunct, since I'm already here talking about Rahu and Mars. The fact that she's got Rahu and Mars in the fifth house, that's actually fucking brilliant. You know why? I did a research project. I looked at the charts of the 100 most influential YouTubers. And a big percentage of them had Rahu conjunct Mars. And what I realized is that when you have Rahu conjunct Mars, this can make you very creative, but especially with technology. You want to use your hands and put it on a camera. You want to direct. You want to put your hands on a laptop and edit. You know what I mean? People with Mars conjunct Rahu, they make natural directors. And Lucy was a director. Part of what made I Love Lucy such an iconic show and like a frontier type show was the fact that Lucy wasn't just an actress. She would go to the cameramen, she would go to all the tech crew, and she would ask them questions. In the movies that she was in the 30s and 40s, she would just absorb information. She had a real natural talent and curiosity for the technical side of cinema and film. And this is actually part of what made I Love Lucy so revolutionary, was because she did things her way and she knew how to do things her way, because she wasn't just an actress. She was like learning cinema and film on both sides of the camera. And so I think that her Rahu conjunct Mars has everything to do with the fact that she was such a good director and she knew she was really good with cameras. Because when I looked at the charts of, like I said, when I looked at the charts of those YouTubers, they all had that same aspect, which was Mars conjunct Rahu. Another thing is, who else has this placement is Michael B. Jordan. And I was talking about in his chart how I wonder if he directs. I wonder if he's done any directing, because he also has Mars conjunct Rahu. And someone commented that he's in those Creed movies, the boxing movies, and he actually directed the last 2 Creed movies himself. So again, I just keep on seeing Mars and Rahu like representing directors. And with Lucille Ball, it's no fucking different. She's got Mars conjunct Rahu, and she was specifically known in the entertainment industry for revolutionizing like the way we see sitcoms on TV today. Anyway, I think that's fucking fascinating. Kudos to her. And it's in the 5th house of the arts. Very, very, very devoted to the arts. Very devoted. Okay, now I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you real quick. I do see a bad marriage. First of all, Neptune is in the 7th house. That means it's not realistic. And when I looked at that documentary, they barely were married. The one time they actually really tried to be domestic, be a husband and wife and raise kids, they divorced. Like they divorced a year later. Like when the only time that they were their best when Ricky was touring the country and Lucy was at home, like in California working, and Ricky was a musician. He would tour the country. That was at their best in their marriage. Or when they filmed I Love Lucy, they were still like professionals working together. You know, that was fine too. But when they like took vacations and they had no pressure to go anywhere, like they were just themselves together as a family unit, it didn't happen. They divorced a year later. So the documentary talked about that. So, and it's funny because she does have her Neptune in the seventh house, meaning an unrealistic marriage, or a marriage where something's going on, something's not quite right, something's not as stable as it looks, something is not as realistic. You know, it's kind of, there's some illusion there. The other thing is, like I said, kind of debilitated because Jupiter is in the 11th house. Jupiter is in a Saturn ruled house. Jupiter does not like that. Saturn is about restriction and delay. Jupiter is about giving permission. Okay, so there's something, and Jupiter is also the husband. So the fact that she's got a kind of a debilitated Jupiter, on one hand, makes her a great fucking worker because she's gonna have to overcome everything with her own efforts. But on the other hand, the husband can, I don't know, just kind of not a lot of luck with the husband. Jupiter not will have. I can't read my own fucking handwriting. Jupiter better friend. Yeah, because the 11th house is the house of friendships and social groups. So Jupiter, it's so funny because back in the day they would have those two beds that were separate, like in the 40s and 50s, right? This actually would be good for her if her and her husband had their own bedrooms or something like that. They were better if they were friends, more like roommates or something like that. Because it's in the 11th house. Saturn is not very emotional. That's why Saturn rules friendships. You know, Saturn is about the general collective, what's good for us, not good for me and you, or good for me, you know. So when you have your Jupiter there, it's better if your husband is like your friend, you know. Seventh is her, and then also kind of indicative of a bad marriage is that the fact that her Venus is kind of debilitated because it is in Virgo. Now, on one hand, it makes her very pretty, and the fact that it's in the 10th house makes her ladylike. When people see her, they see a lady. They see beauty, they see artistic, but then they also see a lady. But Venus in Virgo is technically debilitated, not at this particular degree, okay? Not this particular degree, but in the sign in general, kind of, yeah, Venus is kind of debilitated. Venus is exalted in Pisces, which is the opposite of Virgo. So not only does she kind of have a debilitated Jupiter, but then, which is the husband, but then she kind of has a debilitated Venus, which is the love life. So when you get those two together, you know, so I just see multiple indications of not that great of a marriage. So that definitely is in the chart. But the husband, there's something very deep about the husband because her Pluto's in the 7th house. You know, I know her husband, I know Desi Arnaz, he's from Cuba. I know that he comes from revolutionary Cuba. You know, his family are refugees from Cuba. So that might be the Pluto. Maybe he was a severe alcoholic or something like that, severe something. You know, I'm not going to make those claims, but Neptune is in the 7th house. Neptune people can be on the sauce. Neptune people can be on drugs. Neptune people can be escapists. That's what it is. So the fact that she's got Neptune in her 7th house and Pluto there, that means there's something very deep and very escapist about the husband. Also, like I said, Jupiter is husband, and Jupiter is kind of being debilitated here in 11th house. But it's in Swati Nakshatra. That's a very wealthy nakshatra. So it means that her husband was very wealthy, and he indeed came from a lot of wealth. And even though he was poor for a minute when he first came to America, in his old age, Desi Arnaz was so fucking rich. He produced like 5 or 6 very successful shows in the 60s as a producer, after he produced I Love Lucy, including, remember My Three Sons? You gotta be old to know these shows. He produced it. So he was very talented, very rich. All right, guys. I love you, Lucy. All right, guys. Bye.